Today, we have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about being an author, an entrepreneurial, and a executive director of a home office. And you're thinking, what the heck is a home office? Well, you're going to find out on today's show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, Mauricio Mejia Live.
It's Mauricio Mejia Live. Entertainment guru, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, author, and speaker. It's Mauricio Mejia Live.
All right, guys, welcome back. We are here, Mauricio Mejia Live in downtown San Jose, Studio B. And today's special guest, good friend, entrepreneurial, book writer, author, speaker, hype woman, all of the above. My good friend, Jacqueline Hernandez in the house today. Welcome.
Woo! Okay, well, I am so excited to be here.
Here we go. I love it. Now you're gonna get me hyped up. Right, go for it. Let's do an intro for me now.
Yes. So excited to be here with my good friend,
Yes.
Mauricio Mejia.
Thank
He
you.
has done wonders all over San Jose. Totally killing it. I saw him on what was it? You were on a live TV
Yes.
in LA, all the way to Mexico. He's
All
out
over the
there
world, all
in
over the world.
Vietnam. Oh my gosh, he's killing it, crushing it. Okay, entrepreneur goals right here.
Yes. All right, now you got me all
He's
like,
blushing.
woof.
You see
All
this?
right, here we go. You know what? Honestly, I was really excited to know that you were going to be in town and that we were going to spend some time together.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure. It's always fun because the energy is always, we match. Our energy matches.
There's
Especially-
never a dull moment.
Never. And, negativity doesn't exist in our universe. And we've been blessed to be surrounded with some great people and some great mentors and just our circles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your family is important to you. And obviously the people that are around me, my version of a family is important to me. And
Yes.
we just keep it there. And we have there's some similarities, right, in our paths. And that's why we're here, because we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about being an author. We're going to talk about being a speaker. We're going to talk about the current role that you're in right now that just blows my mind away because it's within the universe of people that I'm with right now. And but anyways, before we go into all of that, I want to take it back to day one.
Hold on, you forgot we're going to talk about me being the girl version of you.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, when you're going to be my mirror reflection today. We're gonna
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Don't call me out though, right? Don't call me out. But yeah, you've seen my growth. You've seen me from. We'll talk about that too. So
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk
We
about
do.
today. We got a lot to talk about in a very short period of time.
Let's dive in.
So let's go. So give us a little background on you. Kind of where you grew up. What's the inspiration of, what guided you, right? What was your compass, right?
Yes.
And to where you went,
North.
because, obviously upward. Because I know that we crossed paths many years ago. And when we crossed paths again, we were obviously in different places in our life, and obviously maturity, growth, all kinds of stuff. And I didn't really know that you had been kind of following me, not stalking me, but following me.
Stalking.
And all of a sudden the relationship sparked up, and we're here today. But yeah, let's begin your journey.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Silicon Valley. Really got to see the development of the Silicon Valley take place here. We went from San Jose being kind of like a real close circle of big families, and everybody kind of knew everybody, to what it is today. And seeing that development, I've seen companies rise and fall and startups happening. And being able to be in that environment, in that landscape, to see this happening, get firsthand information. What I was able to do with that is go into consulting. But prior to consulting, I started out in network marketing. And I'll tell you, network marketing is a beast, but it's a school of business.
Yeah. It's got there's a lot of things that happen in there, right? They teach you mindset.
Yes.
How to have
Marketing.
Marketing, self-marketing.
Yes.
They teach you how to accept the no's, all the no's you get.
Yes.
So it
Be
really
resilient.
it gives you a confidence booster in the things that are coming in life, because
Yep.
the journey ain't easy, and people that try to
to do it,
they try.
I'd say like 98% people fail.
Yeah.
And I magically superseded that. I made it to the second highest position in the company.
Yeah.
And I had a team of over 8,000 people. So
Yeah.
being able to
You were a beast.
provide
I
that
remember.
leadership
Yeah.
really taught me a lot on how on people and people development. And so from there, I took it into consulting and started doing that with Silicon Valley startups and just different companies throughout.
I think that's when you caught my eye, not my eye, or whatever.
I caught your eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the conversation. No, it caught my interest and my attention was because when we connected, and just your approach, and I was like, "What the heck?" I'm talking to myself right here. Like I saw, and I told you, I said, I'm listening to me right now coming out of you.
Oh, I think people think a lot of things about people in a very positive way, but I think that people just don't share those out loud, and people should start sharing them out loud.
Yeah, I've realized that. Yeah, a lot of my it's not even a strategy. It's just the way that I've started to see myself conduct business and do things. I'm always just giving, right, pouring into other people, complimenting them, and wanting to know more about them than trying to talk about me. Even though I can get caught up on talking about me or the things that I'm doing, because I get excited, I get passionate about it. It's fun, right? And I think that that's kind of the common ground that we have. We talk about things that we love and we're passionate, and I remember on one of the companies that you were consulting for when you brought me on board as a guest.
Yes.
And I'll never forget how you just did the introduction. And after I heard the introduction,
you cried.
Yeah, I was like, damn. I was like, wow. I was like, thank you. I mean, so you saw all this developments, but prior to that, I mean, schooling, any formal.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I talk about that? No.
Yeah.
So I was a teenage pregnancy.
Okay.
And so I dropped out of high school. And then later, long years later, after I had already done network marketing, made a ton of money, created lots of leadership programs, and helped so many people change their financial trajectories, I did go back to school, and I went back to school and just got my AA. I got two, one in psychology and one in, what was the other one? Communication studies. Yeah.
Do you think that going through that experience at a young age is what was the driver that really triggered and said, damn, I need to do something?
Teenage pregnancy?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm from the east side of San Jose, and, I felt like once I had my son at 16 years old, it was like, this is my legacy. This is the person I'm responsible. Like I have a duty to this person to make them, ready for society, ready for,
and you're still
what's gonna
going,
come.
and you're still going.
Well, now I'm a mom of 5.
Yeah.
And a grandma of 3.
Jesus. Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations on that. And, obviously you've done a lot to get to where you're at today.
Yeah.
But coming along that journey, though, we've talked about entrepreneurial, the life of being an entrepreneur, and the entrepreneurial lifestyle, and it's about peaks and valleys. Period. I mean, you wrote a book about it. I was hoping that you would have had a copy here.
I know.
We're gonna definitely put it on our show. And is it available right now?
Yes, it's available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes and Noble.
All right.
Yeah, so you can get
I
it.
I haven't gotten to Barnes and Nobles yet, but I am on Amazon. But you're gonna have to show me how to get there eventually. Show me that path. Talk to us about the book. What is the context?
Yeah, so
of the book?
The book is it's called Entrepreneurial Empire, and it's about how to build an empire. And when you think about an empire, it's not just about you as an individual, but it's also about that legacy, that generational passing on. So, if you want to retire today, how did you set up your family to take on that wealth, And when you think about passing on a company when I think about passing on a company to my kids, what did I do to prepare them for that? And when did that preparation start?
Yeah.
Like my daughter, who's 13 years old, she knows all about how to set up financial stuff. She knows about investments. She knows about venture capital. You know, she's 13 years old, and sometimes she'll hear conversations on the phone with me and she's like, how come they don't know that? And she'll provide the answer. And I'm like, nobody's asking right now. You're in learning mode. Calm down.
13-year-old. But you know what? How amazing is that, right? Because they don't teach that in school.
Yeah.
I mean, if we would have gotten some type of financial literacy class, something that even, not accounting, not how to be an employee, right? If they taught us management of money and or the entrepreneurial spirit, or just building versus training us to be employees.
Or how about relationships?
Yeah,
relationships are important. When I think of how to build a business, 6 years ago, I started all over again, penniless, because I left a marriage that everything was hitched to. And it was, do I want sanity or do I want to fight for certain things?
Sanity.
And I want sanity all day long,
Sanity.
right? So I walked away penniless with 5 kids to support in the Silicon Valley. And, when I think about everything that I've learned and put into practice, it's like what that saying is, you can take all the money in the world from everybody and have everybody start over, and the same people that became wealthy or successful are still going to become wealthy and successful.
Amen.
Because they know how to do it.
That's right.
And so I wasn't scared to walk away from everything and leave with nothing, because I knew I did it once, I could do it again. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about right there. What I'm talking about right there.
I don't advise anybody to leave with 5 kids, though, and do it over again. But
talk about resiliency, right? I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
Life happens.
Definitely. And it was scary, and that's what I talk about in my book as well, especially being a woman, really going into an industry that I know very well, but doing it alone this time, and really trying to forge that reputation. And
I like that word, forge.
Yeah, forge that reputation, and and let people know that you're here to stay. You're not going anywhere.
That's right.
So it's that resilience, and I really think that's the entrepreneurial spirit when you think about it. Yeah. So
well, you definitely command presence when you walk into a room. Not only do you bring in some heat, some energy, but it projects. You walk into the room and you command that presence, and so people will gravitate to that, and that opens up the doors as well, right? I mean, it just, you can't be in this world, in the business world, you cannot be afraid, you cannot be shy, because a quiet mouth never gets fed.
No, definitely not.
It'll never open up opportunities. So.
But again, I really believe it goes back to relationships. I grew up in a very large family. There's 5 generations in my family still living today. And, that together and cohesiveness was what allowed me to really develop that network marketing business. But then from there, within consulting, every client became like family for me. And building off of those relationships and being able to collaborate instantly, if I hear somebody that is interested in something that you're doing, I instantly am like, oh my gosh, you have to meet Mauricio Mejia. Right. He's doing this. And because I know everything about you, I have that close relationship, I'm able to just spill it all out. Like, oh, this is why you need to work with him.
Super connections. I've said it in the past. We've become super connectors.
Yes.
We've been exposed to so many people in our lifetime that, like you said, there's conversations that are being had, and boom, all you do is you pick a buzz, you'll get some buzzword in the conversation, like, and then all of a sudden our brain just starts to connect, or it starts to screen until we make that connection. And I think that's part of that's just part of the energy and part of the I don't know, it's just part of what we got, right?
Well, it's not about competition, right? It's about collaboration. And so when you look at it from a space of collaboration, that business and making money, if that's your goal, it starts to become a lot easier, because you're able to bring more people together, more deal flow happening.
That's right.
Things like that. So
interesting you said deal flow. So I've been working with this group, the Aspire team, the Aspire Tour, and
yes, I love them.
I'm going this week. We're at the Aspire Miami, and it's just an interesting conversation. Andrew Cordell does this talk on money is. And he talks about breaks it down to like the root word. What is money? What is the old term of money? Currency. What is currency? Root word current. And then he just keeps talking about how the flow of money, right? If money stops or the flow of water stops, then there is no flow. There is nothing. So it's just interesting. It just deal flows. All it is just cash flows. It's exchanges, right? It's always moving. Anything that gets stuck is stuck.
Yes.
Right. So we got to learn to unstuck things and then get them going. So, but I think that comes with energy as well, right?
For sure.
You can't do it like with low energy. You got to do it with like low energy gets you nowhere.
No, definitely not.
And then again, relationships. It talks about, talking about relationships. We have to build those rapports with people because one of the things that I've noticed is that as I've climbed this, society says we're climbing, right? But the circles or
developing.
The developments, the developments of the relationships, the newer relationships that we're building require a different level of mindset, a different level of thinking. And
it's a frequency.
There you go.
Definitely, because you're talking about energy and frequency, and it's just a matter of what frequency you're on.
Right.
You know?
And it's interesting because frequencies can be at different levels too. So one of the things that I'm working on right now, and I'm on this journey, is like myself, my physical self, right? I could be frequency mindset, like business, top point, know my shit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But my body frequency, let's maybe look at it that way. My body frequency is not as good, and I'm not taking care of myself, right? So here, sharp, here. So I had a guest. Yeah, I think you know. Do you know Ruben Resendez?
Yes, I do.
So I had Ruben.
I'll be seeing him tomorrow.
Okay, good, nice, yes. So he was on the show, and one of the things, and he looks amazing. He's actually taking.
He's so fit.
Yeah, he's taking it to
Him
the
and
next.
his wife they're great.
He's taking it to the next level. One of the things that he said is that, and it really just stayed with me, was that the outside is a reflection of who we are inside. And I've been on this journey now for probably the last 6 months, where when I started at a heavy weight, 230 pounds. Today, actually, I got to weigh myself, and I'm back at the 200. I was under, actually, 198, 199 was what I weighed in today. My lowest so far, and I haven't been this weight in probably 24 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Was, the last time was in the 2000s. I mean, geez. So for me to be at this weight, at this point, my energy, my body feels like I'm very hypersensitive now.
Yes.
To certain things, and really it's
But your energy flow is probably
my energy flows is
great.
off the hook. Last night I started swimming. I said, you know what? Let me try this. Try to get into the pool because I used to love swimming all the time. And last night, I did 4 laps. So it's like, and we have an Olympic sized pool, so we did the back. On the third one, on my way out, I was like, "Fuck, I'm about to drown in this motherfucker," because my lungs were, just
Yes.
And when I got back, I was like, so I'm gonna start adding that to my routine because it just felt good this morning. And when I went to bed, I was like, my body I melted in the bed. I was like, man, I'm out. When I woke up this morning, I was like, I felt like a tightness because I used probably muscles that I haven't used in a long time.
I love it. You woke him up.
Yeah, I did. I woke up the beast inside, and then and so just again the frequency, right? Going back to that, it's how we project that energy, and then what comes out of us, out of our mouth too. It's
for sure.
The knowledge,
it's the positivity also too, and what you're attracting. A lot of people don't believe like what you're putting out there is what you're attracting. And it's like, oh my gosh, if you're starting this day off like, oh, this is going to happen, I just know it. You're right, it is going to happen.
Yeah, because you're attracting
you're
it.
attracting it for sure. Yeah.
There's Steve Harvey does this one in the morning. I don't know if you've seen the one where he talks about the brain, right? And he gives the example of if you wake up in the morning and you say, oh man, like it's negative, then the brain says, all right, the general's
I have heard that
the general's
one,
not
yes.
having a good day. Let's start, and when they start cranking out the negative, right? But then if you wake up, that kind of stuff. So that's what I feed myself with on the mornings.
Yeah.
I love either listening to classical music, or I love listening to other inspirationals or other, like right now I'm on this whole stoic tip, right? I'm like, I want to learn about Seneca, right? So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
goodness.
yeah, it's deep. Like this shit is like off. It's really messing with my head. But it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because when we're having conversation like this and we're talking about certain levels of doing business, it starts to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I've been blessed, and you've seen my journey. I've been blessed to be around a couple of billionaires that are mentoring, right? And I say that not because it doesn't mean anything. It's just the level of business that they're doing, right? It's all certain levels.
But just being around it and getting exposed to different terms. You said you were exposed to the term family office.
Yes, I was like family office.
I think you thought I was like on one when I kept saying family office. You're like, okay, Jacqueline.
Like I was like, oh, so you're running a family office, like like somebody's like family office, right? But I remember that one day I heard that term 3 times, and from the people that I heard it, I'm like, why would they talk about family offices, right? And I didn't realize until I had to Google it. And I was like, I Googled it, and then I really was like, wait a minute.
Did you have to Google UHNW too? Is that a new term?
Yeah, that's a new term. What are you messing with me now? You're messed up. What are you doing?
UHNW.
Why are you playing with me like that?
Ultra high net worth individual.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even. Come on, I'm in the billion. I'm playing in the billionaires. Now you're talking about ultra high net worth. No, I didn't. But now it's going to be stuck
now you're
in
going to be curious. Okay.
That's right. But my curiosity is what has gotten me to where I'm at. Just like you.
Yeah.
You know, our curiosity, right? And then you've been also exposed to building. So for me, it was like, all right, let me learn this term. But really, what it did is in my brain, I'm like, shit, I got to call Jacqueline. Yeah. And I remember when I called you, I was like, hey, Jacqueline, so can you explain to me
what's a family office?
What's a family office? And
what's the significance of it?
So I'd like for you to explain it in your words, because I don't want to give the dictionary or the Google version of it. But talk to us about what a family office is.
Yeah, so family office is pretty much an individual or a family business that has hit over $100 million. So it doesn't.
And that's a baby office, though, right there. That's a baby office,
no,
right?
But that's the entry to family office.
That's right.
That's the entry level, I guess, if you want to say that. And so what they really do is then you start thinking about succession planning. You transition of wealth. And then people, when they're looking at transition of wealth, depending on how many kids they have, they're looking at how many people are involved in the business, right? And so as you're looking at that, who are the key players? What type of company do you guys have? Is it a public company? Is it private? Is it just a family business? So being able to look at all those different varieties of business.
And does it have to be a business or just family wealth?
No, it could be family wealth. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So when you think about that, right now, the average, and this isn't even very common, but the average wealth transfer goes 3 generations deep. And then after that, it kind of dissolves, basically. So the 3rd generation, by the time it hits the 3rd generation, they didn't have either the knowledge, the tools, the know-how, the entrepreneurial spirit to make that business and then create a new era out of it and stay relevant.
God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think about it like, well, who after me, who's who? Where does my where does my like
legacy go?
Die, right? Just or what happens, right?
But there are some people, so we work with people that don't have children and they don't have that kind of passing. So generational wealth wouldn't be towards their direct descendants, but they do generational wealth where the company owns itself and then they set up parameters for the company to go 3 generations, 7 generations.
Anybody needs an adopted son or anything, I'm right here. I got experience. I'm in. I want to learn more. I want to get to those next levels. But
yeah, so when you think of that, but then also as you think of legacy, right, and generational wealth transfer, you also think of philanthropy.
Yes.
And so philanthropy is a big key in regards to generational wealth because it's allowing your namesake, or even if it's not your name, but it's your cause that you're getting behind. And so as you were asking me what I'm doing out here this week, so I came from San Antonio, even though I'm born and raised native to San Jose. Let's get that
You're
straight.
You're a transplant now. You're a transplant.
Now I'm a transplant to San Antonio, Texas. Yes. I've never been called a transplant until recently.
Wow. So. I'm offended. You're like, I'm offended. What happened?
But yeah, so I'm out here today because tomorrow we're actually having a family office conference.
Nice.
And it's called Legacy Builders. So Legacy Builders is this is an amazing opportunity because we're bringing 112 families, okay, family offices. And the threshold, again, for anybody that's in the room was already 100 millionaire, right? So we're bringing the 112 family offices.
I'm sorry I couldn't make it tomorrow. I'm just, the next one.
Okay,
I'll be
the
the
next
next one. So,
So they're coming, and it's an opportunity to create that ecosystem
Yes.
that brings wealth creators together to be legendary forces
Yes.
when it comes to the topic of philanthropy and collaborative giving. Imagine bringing 10 billionaires together, and they're like, I'm obsessed with this cause, and I want to make a difference.
Yes.
And imagine the type of funding that can go towards that cause because you brought a room full of
even if it's
family
a,
offices
even if
together.
it's a small percentage amongst all of them at the table.
Yes.
It's crazy.
So we're really excited about that. And then when you think about it too, you're playing in a whole different landscape. And these individuals, some of these people don't even know each other, but they all have a common denominator, which is our person that is the host of the entire event. His name is Alan Olson. You know Alan.
Yes, yeah.
You were on his show as well.
That's right. That was actually pretty fun. That was it was interesting because I was being interviewed by him talking about my story.
Yes.
And wow, what year was that?
It was about 2000. I mean, 2020.
2020.
It was a pandemic. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers.
Yeah.
You know, they see a need. And, a lot of people go after.
It's crazy though, right? Because we get hit with
Yes.
problems. We get hit with the
Daily.
problems. It's like, come to me with some solutions so that I can help, but don't come and just dump the problem on me.
I prayed for wisdom and I got
Ooh.
problems.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So, that's what we're doing out here, legacy builders, bringing people together, and then really guiding that narrative of philanthropy and what your purpose is. You built your wealth. Now what? What's your purpose?
So give us an example, just so kind of people's curiosity is like to be, is not just open to anybody. It's by invitation.
Invitation only. Yeah.
Right. Invitation only. What does something like that cost just to attend something like that? Because it's not, again, this is by invitation.
Well, it depends. There's a variety of different ways to kind of get in the room, I guess.
Gotcha.
But even the speakers, the ecosystem that we're building is about giving.
Right. Let me ask you, if you were to collectively put these 112 families' net worth, maybe we can, I don't know if we can, what would that net worth be of 112 families in that room?
I couldn't put a number to that for you, even though I do have a number, but I couldn't put a number.
Give us a guesstimate.
But I can tell you this.
Yeah,
There's people in the room that are...
Give us a high and low. How about a high and low?
That are playing in the realm of 600 billion.
Wow.
There's people in the room. So it's, and again, everybody there is looking to build relationships.
Right.
They're not looking to take.
Right.
You're
No,
there to
I
give.
get it. I get it. Yes, they're because again, if you go back to the root of it, you get to a certain point, the money, the wealth just becomes stagnant.
Yes.
And you have to keep it moving, right? You just gotta keep it moving in order to keep things growing.
Well, I'll tell
right?
you this. I got a call from a personal family member in my family, and they represent the first generation of 5 generations. And they gave me a call out of the blue, and they asked me what I thought they should do with their wealth. And this person inherited 2 separate families worth of wealth. And that's what they were representing. And when I had this conversation, number one thing came to me is like, how do you not know who you're going to pass this on to? And number 2 was everybody that I can possibly think of that is in your surrounding proximity is not even prepared for that type of wealth. So I'm like, wow, okay. And so the questions arose.
Popping bottles.
Yeah.
We're buying. Oh yeah, we're gonna go have fun.
Well, it's funny. We just had this conversation. I'm going to segue here for a second. We just had this conversation because we were talking about in one of these wealth creators was talking about, oh yeah, they didn't invite this person because it was Gucci.
All right. Yes, I know my Prada, Louis Vuitton.
Had a Gucci headband, and they automatically said no, they can't. It's not they're not welcome. And the conversation kind of escalated from there. And it was like, well, why not? And it was like, because people of real ultra wealth don't wear name brand stuff like
That's
that.
right. That's why I don't wear name brands, guys. Hello. Plain V-neck T-shirts, cool jeans. All right, I got the Rolex, but don't wear.
But back to my conversation that I had with this individual in my family, they even talked about not giving certain wealth to their direct descendants. And I said,
damn, that's got to hurt.
And I told them, I was like, well, my best advice to them was, you have to really think about what you're creating after you leave, because whoever you leave that to, you're going to create a situation for being sued. And conflict and division within the family. And and I told her, you have a responsibility to use that wealth for good. I was like, you have massive wealth. Why are you not putting conditions and requirements on that? Why are you just giving it, And it's like, if so-and-so, let's talk about education. If you wanted, your granddaughter to get a master's degree because you believed in something in her, why isn't a requirement in order to get this portion of your wealth that you get your master's degree?
Yeah.
And so there's just so many different
options. That's amazing, right? Because what you're doing is you're setting expectations. You're setting the goals ahead. So I'm working with a group right now, the World Academy of Arts and Science.
Yeah.
I've just met the executive director from the Academy of Arts and Science. And he shared with me that some of these mastermind groups that they're having now, they plan for 250 years ahead.
Yeah.
Crazy. I'm like, I'm just trying to plan the next year, guys. Like next, 3 months, 6 months. No. But you understand what I'm saying? Like how we're conditioned to think, right? So I'm planning for the next. I'm looking at it, and even though I'm not being short-sighted, I'm just trying to I'm doing it in chunks of 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? Because the business mind that I'm in right now, right? The cycle, real estate development is in 3, 5, and 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
No, you know what? And here's the thing too. When I think about it, there's a such thing as generational poverty, just as there is a thing of generational wealth. And so it's like, if you're just living day by day and paycheck to paycheck, you're creating a generation of poverty, your next generation, and hopefully, cross our fingers, they do something a little bit better, Right. But when you're not intentionally teaching that, you're not leading the right way. And it is a responsibility and a duty,
Right.
And so when I think about that, also as a mom of 5, I think about, I have to be my very best and do my very best to create as much as I can so that I can give that to my family so that they're not starting in the negative.
That's right.
My kids,
because
my grandkids.
Sometimes you can, if the parents or they pass away, they can actually, if they aren't planned properly, the kids can take on negative.
But here's what I want to leave and inspire your listeners to is that we're talking about people that are making $100 million. Even if you're making, let's say, $100,000 a year, and you're like, well, why would I start that? Or I don't own a business. But it has nothing to do about owning a business. It has to do with what principles, what ethics are you leaving to your kids, and being able to outline that and making sure those are going on for generations.
That's right.
My grandparents, they were farm workers, and the one thing that they taught their the next generation, their children, which was my parents, they taught them the hard work ethic. Yeah. I mean, the work ethic that you go to work if you're sick. You have a snibbly nose, you're going to work. Yeah. Luxury is to be depressed. If you like that, you don't have that luxury. Yeah. You work, you get up, you're the backbone. They're
not talking about mental health and making excuses and putting labels. Not that mental health is not real.
No,
I'm
sure.
saying, but there is no excuse. You're getting your ass up. And we're
But it's all hands on deck too.
That's right.
Like
all hands on deck.
My aunts, my uncles, everybody helped with the younger kids, know, and so they really helped raise that family to be strong in everything that they were going to do, and then also that sets support as well. It's like, how are you supporting your family so they're elevating? Because that elevation elevates everyone.
That's right.
And so you have to think about it in increments of elevation as well.
You made a comment about how we're supposed to do good with money and that. So
you better be doing good with money.
That's right. one of my mentors, Tony. You know Tony very well.
I love Tony and his wife, Jamie.
Yeah. So Tony told me, and he's sharing knowledge that his mentor taught him, right? So he's passing it down and pouring into me. And he says, Mauricio, he goes, we don't own the money. We are caretakers. We are stewards.
You're stewards of wealth.
Amen. Yeah. So we're stewards of wealth. He says, Mauricio, our job is to continue to do good with what we have. So the minute that we think we own it, that's the switches start turning, like the energy, the frequency starts to go in a different direction. So one of the things that I've learned in the last 4 years that I've been really encapsulated and really just, immersed in the circle that I'm in, is that everyone is doing things for the better good. Yeah. Right? There's a bigger purpose. It's not about us as individuals. It's how can we as a team, right? Yes. We as a team work together to continue to lift,
That's the biggest thing, too, with entrepreneurs. A lot of people think they're going to do it on their own, or they want that, that lapel. They want that pin on their lapel that I did this by myself, self-made, everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's not how real wealth is built.
That's
real
right.
wealth is built by a community, by collaborators and collaborating with other people. So, that's something that people should keep in mind. How much can I collaborate with somebody? But the problem is that a lot of people think that person's going to equally get the shine or equally get the credit, or I'm not going to be recognized for what I did. And, what's really great about this philanthropy path that we're on is that you can't even be involved, right, if you want your name on it.
Wow. So you're getting...
Take that to the bank.
Yeah. I'm going to give you all my money, and you don't have to put my name on it.
You can't get credit.
Wow.
Because it's about doing good for doing good, So, really...
I don't know. This conversation is over now. I'm kidding.
But, how can you elevate
somebody,
somebody,
where's the fun in doing good and just doing good? I wonder, where's the bad part in there?
Yeah.
So...
But not only that, even in my book, Entrepreneurial Empire, I talk about, giving back as well. I talk about how I walked away with nothing, but even walking away with nothing in the Silicon Valley and trying to really raise myself back up, I pulled in to my network. I pulled into people that I could collaborate with, people that knew my reputation for what it was at that time and leaned into those collaborations. Yeah. But the one thing that I can tell you is this: I would sit my kids down, and this is where I'm talking about is how are you mentoring your children? How are you mentoring people that are with you, So I would sit my kids down, and they're like, I would tell them how much money we had at that time. And I would say, okay, but we're going to go and feed the homeless. So you're going to create a grocery list, and here's your budget.
Right.
So they would create that grocery list. They would pick out all the food at the groceries. They would make it. And then we'd go to St. James Park and feed the homeless.
Wow.
Or go and buy some tents, with the little bit of money that we did have at that time, and really give back. And I can honestly say I am truly abundantly blessed, loved by my family, and money financially, and I definitely contributed back to being a giver in life.
Interesting you say that, because definitely I've gone through a life transformation. I always tell people the Mauricio that they've known from and I always say 2008, because 2008 was very pivotal for me.
Yeah.
But
I remember.
Yeah, pre 2008 Mauricio. I was like, you're lucky if I look at you, right? I'm like, whatever.
What? Not Mauricio. No way.
And then post 2008 Mauricio, after Mauricio ate shit, right? I was like, oh, this doesn't, my sister, I remember my sister saying it to me. Oh, brother, big brother, how does that humble pie taste? And I looked at her because I was living under her roof, right? Yeah. And I looked at my sister
on the couch,
on the fucking on the couch, yeah. Actually, yeah. Fuck, you took me there. That's the past, and I use it as rocket fuel now as I move forward. What I did learn is that the more I gave, the more that I helped others, the universe. I can't even. I one day I just did out of just curiosity. I said, what I did in 5 years, from 2014 to 2019, does not even equate to what I did in 25 years of nightlife entertainment. Even though I had a lot of fun, and what I did in those 5 years wasn't sexy, but it was, at least in my mind, I didn't think it was sexy, but what I thought the association was that how many families did I help? How many roofs over people's heads did I help contribute, right?
Yeah.
Everyone had to do their part. And how many people did this company feed? And how many people did I impact along the way?
And how do you measure that impact, you know? Being
Right.
able to have the ability to measure that performance, you know?
Right. I know that in the 5 years that when I was running my former company, I had put literally over 25,000 people to work. Mm-hmm. And that's just the actual physical person that's working. And those people had an average of maybe 2 to 3 people in the household.
Yes.
So and now and then I started to somewhat quantify the 25,000. Well, if I did that and they had 3, then it's 75,000.
Yes.
And then those 75,000, then what else did it also help? So it becomes like a
ripple effect.
Yes, a ripple effect, right? Just and it's it doesn't stop, right? I just threw out some positive energy into the universe, and what I received back was even more. And just again, it was interesting, right? When you really sit down and think about those kind of moments.
I definitely tumbled far down too, because you know, I was living a great life before I left penniless. You know, we had multiple Corvettes, we had lots of
Toys
and $1 million house, all of that stuff. But I can honestly say in that situation, I was miserable. I don't feel like I was living to my purpose, you know?
Yeah.
But today I feel like I'm alive. I'm living my purpose. I'm giving back in ways that are changing people's trajectories, like family generational trajectories, you know? So that to me is I feel like I'm in my place where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that 100% because where I'm at today and what I feel today, I would never change it it was fun and exciting in the past. But along that way, if I truly go deep into remembering it, those were some dark moments for me. Life was just, there was no purpose other than just fun.
Yeah.
Right? It was a party, always a party, always a party, and it was a party, and it just never stopped. And I was like, fuck, when's this thing going to stop? So until I got off that ride and hit a different trajectory in life, it took me on a different path.
But the one thing that I can say just from observation with you is that you learned the biggest lesson that any human being can learn. And that was like, you learned who was your ride or dies when you were with nothing at that point. You know, you learned how to create those relationships that actually mattered because you learned that a lot of people left, you know, when you weren't the fun day, you know?
Exactly.
And you weren't providing everything
Mauricio
for
Fun
everybody.
Day, right? Mauricio Fun. Oh, Mauricio Fun. That are like, what you guys can't call and check up on me? I mean, crazy, right?
But you built a circle around you of true friendships. Yeah. You know, and that's something that you can't put a price tag on, too.
Yeah. No, very true. And even what's happened here with us, you know, I got to tell you, I feel blessed and very honored that we're sharing the same air today, right? No, just it just I want some of that energy because I know that the circles and the environments that you're in, one day I'll be sharing those environments on that level that you're at because I know that I'm continuing to see and learn that the groups that I'm in already, they're into philanthropy in other ways and they're doing it. I mean, you heard it. You met one of the partners downstairs, and on his way out, he says, "Hey, how can we get more of these family offices to activate themselves?" It just doesn't happen that way.
And I'm bringing 112 today.
Yeah, I know. That was like, damn. I go, that's going to be a fun conversation when I go back downstairs. But interestingly enough, it's. I love our relationship. I've loved what you've done, and congratulations on everything you've done. You've raised 5 beautiful children. I don't know why you left San Jose, but you know
to go be with my granddaughter.
Oh, is that
my grandson?
That's right.
They live in Texas, so I moved there to be closer to them and be a part of their upbringing and their memories of growing up.
But we're missing you. We're missing you here, and you know. But
I know. I miss all kinds of things out here.
Well, that's
and I got iguanas now.
Yes,
they're out there in San Antonio now.
my big shout out to them. They moved their entire operation, their families and everybody.
You see that?
They all moved. Yeah, they
wealth.
moved over there. Yeah, they actually moved. They still have all the
Family
locations
business,
here.
yeah.
They're thriving here, but they went down there and now they've exponentially grown together as a team. Everybody moved, or everybody owns their home over there, and they still own their properties here.
Yes.
Amazing, right? I mean, Paul Orozco, one of the founders of Iguanas, one of my angel investors in one of my businesses. That's again relationships. Relationships.
It's about the relationship. Yeah. It really is. And then, I really want to press upon here to the audience as well. No. You don't have to be making a lot of money. You could be poor and you can still give as service to philanthropy, which is providing your time, And that's a big thing. A part of our conference is like, we don't just want the money, but it's also a requirement that it's your time as well, your time investment in either mentorship or hands-on volunteering. So
it's interesting. I've heard that in many circles too, that sometimes people they won't even take your check.
Yep.
Unless
you're going to get involved.
That's right. we don't want you to just write a check. We want your time.
Yeah.
And then you can contribute as well. So interestingly enough, that I've seen and witnessed that many times, and I'm like, okay, and I actually like that because that also taught me something. I'm like, cool. There's more value in actually me going out and doing what needs to get done, investing my time and energy, because it'll equate to a version of money. So.
And you bring it up over and over throughout this conversation is mentors. And, when you really think about mentors, how do you find these mentors? How do you know you're going to jive well with them, And the one biggest shout out that I want to give to is to Alan Olson, the managing partner at GrowCo. And when we started having conversations about collaborating and bringing me on board with GrowCo, which is a tax advisory to the ultra affluent, and really talking about developing this program for legacy builders, it was really exciting because when you speak with him, you just hear the excitement, and then it's so interesting because he is such a loving person and he's a giver, like a big giver. And it's like, you don't really meet people like that you could just, it's coming out of their pores. That's how much it embodies who they are.
I remember my interview with him, and actually I think our interview did pretty well too, but from what I understand, it had its viral moment. Interestingly enough, because I think that you had two very opposites in that conversation. You had somebody that was financially way over here, and somebody that had touched it, hasn't been to that, but
teetering,
kind of teetering, right? I'm like, right. And then I'm learning, and then I'm like, all of a sudden, little things that you pick up in conversations then open up they just turn on I call them switches.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody turned on the entrepreneurial switch in me at a very young age and turned on other switches along the way. And those are by associations, right?
But it's also having access, right?
Yeah.
So when you think of access and mentorship, it's how do you have to seek it out. Nobody's going to just plop on your lap and say, here, let me teach you something, Sonny. Right? You have to seek it out. And that's the one thing a lot of people don't press upon is the networking. Again, I want to go back to that because I live and breathe off of networking,
That's right.
And networking is very powerful if you know what you're doing and how to do it,
and how to
the right
do
way.
it. Yes.
And so being able to get access to that information for me, that was important.
Yeah.
The money came, but that was not my focus. My focus was getting access to information, access to that mentorship. And then I knew what to do with that information.
That's right. Money's a byproduct of work.
Yes. Well, no, not of work.
Well,
not of work.
Okay.
Of seeing a need in the world that you can solve that problem.
There you go. That's the better definition there. But I wanted to simplify for the simple people out there, right? Work, right?
But I want to go back to what you said earlier about mentorship, about how I was watching you online. And I want to also really press upon your audience that, what people are watching you online, even though they're not liking your post or whatever, but they're watching the energy that you're putting out there. Yeah. And the one thing that caught my attention about Mauricio was that he was constantly posting, but it wasn't like your typical post. It was like this is what you got to do. Get off your butts. Do this. Don't come to me if you have excuses.
Yeah, I don't want no bullshit around. No, I got one of my coaches over here. She's my executive producer of the show. And, the other day, I tried to walk in here with some bullshit, and I was like, yeah, because her husband coaches me on my nutrition. She said, no, don't, like, I don't want to, I don't want to hear it. And I was like, all right, no, like, and I just know, right? And that's part of the mentorship, right? Now I know, and it actually fired me up. I'd rather be talked to that way than to be coddled or to be, we called it, she called it the other day, she called it a false positive. I was like, fuck, I love that. I've used that term a couple of times now.
No, but you know what's so important about what you just said right there? It's not even the coddling, but it's like that long path to get to your destination because you never corrected me. So I kept going uncorrected all this time. Yeah. Like, just tell me I'm acting like a fool or, whatever.
No.
Correct
I got the, hey, don't come here with that bullshit. And I was like,
nipped it in the butt.
Yeah,
I love it.
Right away, like just boom, and then, but that to me was, I don't know, that was a trigger too for me. Yeah. Right. So I got the best of both worlds. I get one trigger and then another trigger, but this trigger right here was like something that just, I like discipline. I really do.
In the Bible, it says discipline is your love discipline. That's going to be your best friend.
So I've part of my journey is that when I feel that I'm out of structure or out of alignment, I'm seeking, right? I'm seeking.
You're like a fish out of water.
Yeah, I'm like, so I become a shark now, right? I'm seeking, right? I'm seeking for that alignment, and then something just triggers. Either I fall into a pattern of self-sabotage, right? Yeah. And until I find, because in that self-sabotage, you're gonna find that little like, oh, I remember where I'm at, and then it clicks. Yeah. Sometimes I'll listen to something from the past. It's crazy because a couple of days ago I was going through my videos. I'm like, you know what? I need some fucking Tony Robbins right now. Like, boom. I put some Tony Robbins, and the minute I heard his voice, because I've had a lot of associations and I've done a lot of trainings with him, I was like,
did you do the walk on fire?
Yes, 4 times. Yes,
I only did it once.
4 times on the third one. On the fourth one, he actually walked me on the.
You know what?
Yes.
Okay, so I had this crazy epiphany when I walked on fire, right? Because you know how at the end of the fire line, there's a coach, right? And they're yelling and cheering you on. Yeah. But the one thing that they tell you before you step foot on those coals is they say, do not look down.
Right. And do not look down.
They say, stare at me, do not look down. So you're walking across this long path. Yeah. How many feet do you think it is?
It's probably about 50 feet. Yeah, that thing is a long
path, right? So I remember thinking, in my head, this is the conversation that I'm having in my head. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But then the other part of me, that other set of myself is like, girl, get your foot on there, walk across it. You got this.
Let's go. Let's go.
So they say, before you put your foot down, stare at me, look at me. Yeah. And so then they're cheering you on. You got this. You're a bad woman. You got this. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I'm walking down. All of a sudden, something in my brain, I'm halfway through.
I already know where you're going with this.
Something in my brain was like, oh my God, I'm doing this. Yeah. And I looked down. Oh my God. Instantly my feet were on fire. I was like, imagine that. Yeah. Imagine that.
No, I was there. I'm there with you. The first time I actually did that, I remember I'm super confident now. I'm like, oh yeah, I did this. And I remember probably about 10, 15 feet right before, I got confident. I was like, I got this. And all of a sudden, I felt the cinches on my feet because I broke out of state, right? I was
But that, to me, instantly, after I got off that path, I instantly had that epiphany. Is like, your mind is that powerful that it can get you through the walk of fire. Yeah. Or not.
It's crazy. People are out here like, what are they talking about? Walk of fire. Trust me.
Look it up. Yeah, Tony Robbins.
It's crazy. You got everyone. I don't want to say everyone, but I did it. I did it 4 times. I loved it. And just again, I had to go back into a state. Yeah. A peak state. Anyways, we can keep going on forever and ever and ever here. Listen, I want to say thank you for being here today with me, spending some of your precious time that you're not going to get back. It's my time now. And the only,
I love spending time with Mauricio Mejia.
Say that again.
Mauricio.
I want to say thank you. Have a good time while you're here. I hope to see you before you head back. If not, this is now living forever. I'm gonna be able to look at this and enjoy our conversation. But before we wrap it up, I want to know, give us some words of inspiration, because I know that you know how to shift people. You know how to move them. You know how to inspire them. And it's not just inspire just to be inspired. It's something that shifts, that turns on levers in the brain, in the mind, in the heart, right?
Yeah.
So that we can do better in this world.
Yeah, I mean, what I can say is do what you're passionate about. You know, a lot of people go into situations because of how much money they're going to make. It is not about the money.
Right.
The money will come. People, trust me, the money will be there. If
They're like,
you
you're
do
crazy.
something,
It's not coming. I'm thinking.
If you do something you're passionate about, you
Yeah.
know, like you can grow anything into something amazing that's exponentially that can grow, right? But it has to be something you're passionate about, but it also has to be something that is giving back to other people. You know, when you think about these huge, large companies that are here in the Silicon Valley, they started out because there was a problem that they saw and they wanted to provide a solution to that problem. And by providing that solution to that problem, it became something magnificent.
That's right.
And even if and I want to also press upon, start where you're at. Don't look at other people on social media and be like, oh my gosh, I need to post like this, or I need to dress like this, or I need to be doing these things. Like, no, start where you're at. Be okay with where you're at. If you can't be okay with where you're at, if you can't commit to where you're at, then you will never get to rise above and be better, because you won't enjoy the journey. You got to enjoy the journey.
Yeah,
To me, that's the big thing.
That
You
was
gotta
heavy
enjoy
right
the
there.
journey.
I'm gonna agree again with you that we got to be who we are.
Yes. You have to be authentic. And that's,
Yeah.
you know, anytime I'm mentoring somebody, coaching somebody, that's the biggest thing. You have to come from a place of authenticity.
That's right.
You know, and if you can't, then you're not going to attract the right people. You know, you're going to be a fraud.
Ooh, and we're gonna end there like that. You're gonna be a fraud if you're not
gonna be a
authentic.
fraud.
All right, guys. So,
Or not happy.
There you go. That's you know what? I think not being happy is worse than being a fraud. Because fraud, you can change. That's fakeness. But
Yeah.
not being happy.
I don't think I can handle that. Not being happy.
Well, I want to end on a positive note. I just want to tell you again, I love you. I appreciate you being here, and I just don't know what I would do without your energy. And you're just
Yay. Yay.
Yeah.
Woo.
Good luck with your conference here, and say hello to all my friends. Tell them I wish I could have been there, but the next one
I'll
I'll be
let
there.
them know you were busy. It's
I was
okay.
busy. I'll be there. I'll be there soon, and we'll be rubbing elbows. Thank you
Yes.
again for being here.
Yay.
From San
Yes,
Antonio
high five. Let's do
to
it.
San Jose, Silicon Valley, baby. My girl
Native.
Jacqueline.
Native.
You're a transplant. Goodbye.
Native. Bye.
Mauricio Mejia Live.